They fear your wisdom.
What if the first woman in Eden was never Eve? What if there was someone before her, someone the ancient world tried to erase? A name so feared that religious writers buried the story for centuries. Because according to one forbidden tradition, the first rebellion in human history did not begin with Satan. It began with a woman. Before Eve ever opened her eyes, another stood beside Adam. Her name was Lilith. She was not formed from Adam's rib. She was shaped from the same dust, by the same hands, beneath the same heavens. Equal in creation, equal in breath. And for a moment, Eden knew peace. The rivers flowed clear through the garden. Trees bent low beneath the weight of fruit. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. But inside that paradise, something dangerous was already growing. Adam believed authority belonged to him alone. You will lie beneath me. Lilith stared at him in silence. What? Why would I do that? Because I am first. God made me before you. But Lilith refused to bow. First to wake, not first to be made. I watched him shape you, Adam. The same dust on his hands was used for me. The tension spread through Eden like a crack through glass. The man leads, the woman follows. That is the order. Says who? Show me where God told you this. Adam's anger darkened instantly. I do not need to show you anything. You will obey. But Lilith answered with words no creature had ever spoken before. I am not obeying. And in that moment, something changed forever. Because before sin entered the world, rebellion already had. If this story is changing the way you see Eden, type forbidden truth below. Because what happens next becomes even darker. Night after night, Lilith wandered alone beside the rivers of Eden. She watched lions walk beside lionesses. Eagles flew wing to wing across the sky. Everywhere in creation she saw balance, except in Adam. Yet even she began to feel fear. Not fear of Adam, fear of what her defiance was becoming. Then one night she came to the tree of knowledge. Its branches stretched beneath the stars God had spoken into existence. The air around it felt alive, ancient, heavy, with secrets. And hidden within those secrets was something no human was meant to know. The sacred name of God, a name angels feared to speak. Lilith placed her hand against the tree. Her lips began forming forbidden sounds, slowly, carefully, like someone unlocking a door never meant to open. Because the first woman created from dust was about to become the first soul to escape paradise. Eden did not fall in a single moment. First, something invisible cracked beneath its beauty. While Adam slept among the trees, Lilith walked alone through the garden one final time. The same garden where the Lord God caused to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. Yet now the air felt different, heavy, waiting. The grass bent softly beneath her feet as she moved farther from the center of Eden. No animals followed her, no birds sang above her. Even the rivers seemed quieter, as if creation itself sensed what was coming. At the edge of the garden, beneath towering trees older than memory, Lilith stopped and lifted her eyes toward heaven. The stars burned across the sky, the same stars spoken into existence by the voice of God. And for the first time since creation began, a human being prepared to answer back. Her body trembled violently. Not from fear alone, but from the weight of what she was about to do. She had whispered the sacred syllables in secret countless times, but now there would be no turning back. I know your name, the one you used to make the stars. The atmosphere changed instantly. The air thickened until breathing became painful. The ground beneath her feet pulsed like a living thing. Ancient power moved through the garden like thunder trapped beneath the earth, the name that divided light from darkness. Then came the voice, "Stop." But Lilith did not kneel. I cannot live beneath him, I will not. There is another way. Come to me and we will speak. You gave him power over me. I gave him nothing. He chose it himself. Then I will choose my own freedom." Silence covered Eden. Then Lilith spoke the forbidden name. The sound tore through creation like fire through dry fields. Trees bent violently. Stones split apart. The sky rippled above her. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. It felt as though the world had returned to that chaos for a single, terrifying moment. Power surged through her body. Her spine arched backward. Her feet rose from the ground. Something inside her shattered. Not flesh, but something deeper, something sacred. Then the wings appeared. Dark flames burst from her shoulders, spreading wider and wider until they eclipsed the moonlight itself. Blood ran from her nose. Her ears filled with sounds no mortal was meant to hear. And Lilith began to rise, above the rivers, above the trees, above the walls of paradise. Far below, Adam awoke to emptiness. His hands reached through cold air where Lilith once stood, but she was already gone. Behind her, Eden had changed forever. The balance of creation had shifted. The first separation inside paradise was complete. And as Lilith disappeared into the darkness beyond the garden, 3 angels were already descending from heaven to bring her back. The escape from Eden lasted only a few days. Far beyond the garden, Lilith stood alone beside the Red Sea, staring across endless black water. No trees, no rivers, no living thing. The beauty of Eden was gone, replaced by cold wind and empty skies. Her wings trembled from exhaustion. Every breath burned inside her chest. Dried blood still marked her face from speaking the sacred name. Yet, despite the pain, one truth remained stronger than all the others. She was free. Then the heavens split open. Light tore through the clouds, and 3 figures descended from the sky like blazing fire. The sea roared beneath them as they landed upon the shore. Senoi, Sansanoi, Semangeloth, messengers of God. Their presence shook the ground itself. Their wings flashed like sharpened silver. Their faces burned with unbearable brightness, forcing Lilith to turn her eyes away. One of them stepped forward. "Lilith, we bring a message from the Lord." "I already know why you came," she answered coldly. "And my answer is no. You have not heard what we offer. There is nothing left to hear." The wind grew stronger around them. "You are afraid," one angel said. Lilith laughed bitterly. "Afraid? I spoke the name that formed the stars. I crossed the walls of paradise itself. What remains for me to fear?" Then the angels became silent. And suddenly the silence felt worse than judgment. Finally, one of them spoke. "The curse." Lilith's expression changed for the first time. "What curse?" The angels exchanged a glance filled with something almost human. "Sorrow. Each day you remain away from Eden, 100 of your children will perish." The words struck harder than thunder. Lilith stumbled backward into the surf. The cold water crashed around her feet as her breathing broke apart. 100. Every day? Every day. For all your generations. The sky above them darkened. Lives that will end before they begin. Lilith's hands shook violently. "You would take innocent lives to punish me? We destroy nothing. The consequence follows the choice." For a long moment, she said nothing. The waves slowed. The wind faded. Even the sea seemed to wait for her answer. And for the first time since leaving Eden, Lilith almost surrendered. She almost begged to return. But then the memories came rushing back. Adam's voice commanding her, his hand gripping her arm, the certainty in his eyes that she existed beneath him, and the fire inside her hardened again. "I cannot go back," she whispered, "not even for this." One angel lifted his gaze toward heaven. "You choose suffering over peace." Lilith slowly raised her head. "No, I choose myself." The words echoed across the shoreline like a final sentence. Then the angels spread their wings. Light gathered around them like a rising storm. The sea churned violently beneath their feet, and before leaving, they spoke the judgment that would follow Lilith for the rest of her existence. From that day forward, she would lose the thing she loved most. Then they vanished into the clouds. Lilith collapsed onto the cold sand as the first shadow of the curse began moving through her body. She had escaped Eden, but freedom was about to demand a price far greater than she imagined. The curse began with the sunrise. Lilith awoke alone inside a cave near the Red Sea, surrounded by cold stone and endless darkness. Outside, the first light of morning touched the horizon, and with it came agony unlike anything she had ever known. 100 lives taken from her, not distant, not numb. She felt every loss inside her body, as though invisible blades were tearing through her soul, one by one. The pain moved slowly, deeply, refusing to leave. Her scream thundered through the cave walls and vanished into silence. "No, please stop!" She fell to the ground, clutching herself as if she could somehow hold the lives inside her together. Tears burned down her face. They did nothing wrong. Why must they suffer for me? But heaven gave no answer, only silence. And the Lord God called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou? Once God had spoken in Eden. Once his voice walked among the trees. But here, beyond paradise, there was nothing except darkness and the sound of dripping water echoing through stone. Then another morning came, and another 100 were lost. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Each sunrise carried the same sorrow. Each night ended with the same emptiness. At first Lilith begged for mercy. "Can you hear me? I am sorry." But the silence never broke. Eventually, something inside her began to change. The grief remained, but the softness did not. Her tears stopped falling. The warmth left her eyes. The woman who once stood beneath the tree of knowledge slowly disappeared beneath rage, isolation, and despair. If this is what I must become, then I will stop resisting it. The words frightened even her. She stopped eating the fruit of the earth. She stopped drinking from streams. Hunger changed into something darker. Anger fed her now. Bitterness strengthened her. The pain that once crushed her slowly became part of her. And then her body began to transform. Her skin turned pale and cold as winter stone. Her fingers lengthened, her nails sharpened into black claws. In the darkness of the cave, her eyes glowed like burning coals. But the terrifying part was this. She fought against it. She tore at her own hands, trying to stop the claws from growing. She hid her reflection in pools of water. She pressed her eyes shut against the unnatural light burning inside them. Still, the curse continued. Her hair grew wild around her face, her teeth sharpened, her bones twisted painfully beneath her skin. What am I becoming? No answer came. Then one night she heard movement deeper within the cave. Soft breathing, tiny footsteps scraping across stone. Lilith slowly turned toward the darkness. Shapes emerged from the shadows, small figures with glowing eyes and clawed hands. They moved unnaturally across the cave floor, hissing softly as they approached her. They were not human, but they looked at her with recognition. And then they spoke one word, Mother. In that moment, the final piece of Lilith's humanity broke apart. The mother of demons did not remain hidden in the cave for long. Lilith emerged from the shadows with her children, following behind her like living darkness. Across empty deserts and forgotten valleys, they spread through the world beyond Eden. Places untouched since creation now trembled beneath creatures born from grief, exile, and curse. And they were always hungry, not for flesh, for fear, for loneliness, for the darkness buried deep inside the human heart. As night covered the earth, their strength grew, their numbers multiplied, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. What once belonged only to silence now belonged to them. At their head walked Lilith, Her wings had grown vast enough to swallow moonlight. Her eyes burned brighter with every passing season. The woman, once formed from dust, had become something the dust itself could no longer contain. Far from Eden, she claimed abandoned caves and lifeless wastelands as her kingdom. The places where no fire burned and no songs were heard became her throne rooms. One night, her children gathered around her in the darkness. "Mother, we are hungry." "I know," Lilith answered quietly. "I feel it too. What will we take?" Lilith looked toward the distant horizon where humanity would one day rise. Not yet, but soon they will build cities, they will raise families, and when they do, the world will finally understand loss. Yet even then, part of her still remembered Eden. Sometimes, while her children slept, Lilith would walk alone beside the sea. She would close her eyes and remember sunlight falling through trees, rivers clear enough to reflect the heavens, fruit untouched by sorrow. "Do you know what Eden looked like?" she once asked softly. "No, Mother." There were trees everywhere, rivers that sparkled like glass. Every breath felt alive. "It sounds beautiful." Lilith's expression darkened. It was beautiful, and it was a prison. As generations passed, whispers of her name spread across the earth. Spirits feared her. Angels watched her. Even beings of darkness spoke of Lilith with caution, because she had done what none of them dared to do. She had defied heaven and survived. Still, the curse continued. Every sunrise, 100 of her children vanished. And every night more were born from shadow and sorrow, creatures able to slip unseen through cracks beneath doors and windows. "They take 100 of mine," Lilith said. "So one day humanity will learn what it means to lose." Soon, people began fearing the darkness itself. Parents carved the names of angels onto walls and doorposts. Senoi, Sansanoi, Semangeloth. They believed those names could keep Lilith away from their homes, but Lilith no longer cared about their fear. Because her attention had returned to Eden, something was changing inside the garden. And from the edge of the world, Lilith was watching, even from the wilderness beyond Eden. Lilith watched the garden she once called home. Adam wandered alone beneath the trees, and for the first time, the man who demanded authority looked completely lost. The rivers still flowed, the fruit still covered the branches, but paradise no longer felt whole. And the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone." So heaven moved again. God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and from his side he formed another woman. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. Eve opened her eyes beneath the light of Eden. She was gentle where Lilith had been defiant, quiet where Lilith had questioned. Adam looked at her and saw peace instead of resistance. "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." And for a brief moment, Eden breathed easily again. But beyond the garden walls, Lilith remained. She could not enter paradise anymore. The angels guarded its gates too closely. Yet her shadow still lingered at the edges of creation like smoke, drifting beneath a closed door. Because rebellion, once born, does not disappear. It spreads. The memory of Lilith settled over Eden like an unseen storm cloud, and soon something else began moving through the garden. A serpent, silent, patient, watching. Its scales shimmered beneath the sunlight as it slithered through the grass near the tree of knowledge. According to the ancient stories, Lilith found the creature near the border of Eden one restless night. "Who are you?" the serpent asked. "Someone who once lived here. Why did you leave?" Lilith's eyes darkened. "I did not leave. I escaped." "From what?" "From bowing to someone made from the same dust as me." The serpent listened carefully. "The new woman bows," it whispered. "I have seen her." "I know," Lilith replied coldly, "and paradise loves her for it." "What would you have me do?" Lilith turned toward the tree of knowledge standing in the distance. Nothing you do not already desire, but the tree holds truths she has never been allowed to hear. Not long after, the serpent found Eve standing beneath those same branches. Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden.